So I think a term that I've heard a lot when people are talking about Breckenridge and about policing is community policing.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little bit about what that is and what that looks like?
Yeah, I think, but I'll preface it by saying that if you ask 10 people, you'll get 11 different answers.
Right, right.
But community policing is the idea that the police are a part of the community and not something that are separate and distinct. So some components of an effective community policing program is a system where the police are able to encounter people when they're not experiencing the worst day of their life, when we don't have that adversarial contact,
right.
when we can build those relationships ahead of time and to build trust so that when, frankly, when the police have to take some actions, a lot of times they're not popular, and
right.
So much of what the police do and respond to is conflict driven. That will inevitably leave one half of a disagreement happy with our service and the other not. And
right.
so the more we can build those relationships ahead of time, getting out of the car, talking to people, having interactions, especially with kids, with the youth, because it's such a great investment, because the more we can build those relationships when they're young, those will carry on when they get older.
Right.
So I think community policing just means getting to know the people that you're there to serve and protect, and including them in that process of deciding what's of value.
And we live in a small community, so these are people that you see when you go to the grocery store,
yes.
or when you're at a restaurant, or
yes.
something like that. Not on the worst days of their lives,
right.
but on better ones. And you guys also have Coffee with a Cop, right?
We do, yeah, and that's something we actually transitioned. This most recent iteration of it was with Red, White, and Blue Fire.
Yeah.
So we called it Coffee with a Cop and a Crew.
And a crew, yeah.
It happened to be while the Buffalo Fire was still ongoing, but we were still able to get enough people there to it worked out really well because people had questions about
right,
what was
about
happening.
the fire.
Yeah.
And what are some of the big issues that you're really interested in that you have experience working on?
So right now, I'm kind of in a phase where I'm evaluating the department. The Breckenridge Police Department is incredibly professional. They are, when you come into an agency from the outside, they generally will fall into one of a few categories. Some place that is absolutely doing everything perfectly and there's no need to change anything. And then on the other end of the scale is a department that's fundamentally broken and in need of reform. And I think Breck, like most agencies, is somewhere in the middle.
Right.
There's room for improvement, and I think identifying those things with the help of the community and internally within the department, I think we're kind of in an evaluation phase to see what's important. A chief's job, generally speaking, has a few different components. We will have to be focused outward in the community. We'll have to be focused inward in the department, and then also there's that third part of the wheel that people sometimes forget, which is the outside the department but still in city government.
Right, right.
And so chief's job is to kind of balance all of those needs. And as I'm going through this process of evaluating, I'm just kind of looking at the department from all angles and gathering as much feedback as I can. But in general, I think some of the things that we can do that I want to focus on is being more data-driven in how we operate, resource deployment, that kind of thing. Try and look at trends that we see over time. My understanding is that Breckenridge itself as a town has changed dramatically, even in the last 5 years.
Yes, yes.
And so it's important that we build the police department in a way that can be flexible yet sustainable so that we can continue to deliver the same high level of service that the community is used to in spite of any changes that happen within the community itself.
Right.